that you can also do this stuff live. Like, it doesn't have to just be relegated to a webinar. Webinars are nice because for a number of reasons, but for many of the same reasons webinars are nice, live events are good too. And you're going to understand what I'm saying when I dive deeper into this, but I always enjoy being more of the facilitator than I am the presenter. And so many times, if you see the things that I've done personally that have been successfully using this strategy over the course of the time of my career, I might speak for 30% because I have 2 other people, or 25% because I have 3 other people that are really good subject matter experts. The other thing is, so keep that in mind. You're better served bringing other people in. I know that this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but I got really good at doing webinars and promoting them when I realized that they weren't coming for me per se. They were coming to hear the content, and the content was on point, but it wasn't because David was the one who was presenting it. So I would encourage you to find the subject that's relevant, number one. Easy to do. There's a lot of different stuff that you can do to find relevant subjects. But then the other thing is, find the people in your network that are experts at that you can include in this. Cyber is a really, really good one. And this is one we've had success with. We've recorded in the past, but cyber insurance webinars, just cybersecurity in general, are fantastic. And I bet you I've done 100 of these in person over the course of my career, whether it be a lunch and learn or a breakfast or whatever it may be. But we always have a managed services provider talk about it, because the other thing is, we also want to be generating leads for everybody who's doing this with us. It's not just about us getting opportunities. It's also bringing other, driving business to other people. So I always have a managed services provider. I always have an attorney. And the real wild card, if you can get this one, is get somebody from the Secret Service or the FBI that can be on the webinar with you for cybersecurity. That's the person everybody's going to come to hear. They won't tell you that, but that's who they want to hear from, because they've got real world scenarios, not even necessarily claim scenarios, just actual cyber event scenarios that they can speak to. And you bring those people in, and you can almost do it where you're the panel host and you're interviewing them, or you do a quick presentation on your piece. But the more collaborative you can have that be, the better off you are. Now, webinars are tough in the event of questions and answers for the audience. You've got to make sure you have that established on the front end as well. How are you going to handle those things? Are you going to have polls available? Are you going to deal with the chat? Are you going to have somebody that's going to come in as an admin for you and handle that stuff so that you can just speak when you need to speak and call it a day? I don't know. You have to figure out what's going to work for you, but I will tell you that if you have the ability to have somebody be like the admin, or like when we do our all-day boot camps, for example, David Lefevre handles all of that. That joker literally is on the boot camp webinar all day long, and he handles any questions, anything that's happening from a technical standpoint. So all I have to do is grip and rip, and anybody who's on the boot camp with us is just presenting, and that's it. But you want to have that established on the front end, because I can tell you there's so many things that can go wrong. And the other thing that you want to do, and I know that this sucks, but you want to do a dry run. I mean, I hate doing practice. Like, even when I got married, the rehearsal was the worst. Like, I don't want to do any of that stuff, but you at least need to have a dry run with the technology, whether it's to start early or late. Start early so that you can do that, or do it the day before. A lot, when we do again, going back to the boot camps, because I feel like that's a pretty well-oiled machine that Lefevre created at this point. But when you go and look at that, He's bringing the speaker on 15 or 30 minutes early. He's testing all their tech in the background to make sure it works before we set them live to present to everybody in the audience. So you probably want to make sure, because there's always a chance that there's going to be a glitch with Zoom or Teams or whatever platform you're using. So figure that piece of it out. The other thing is, you want to have a framework. You need to have some formalization of what you're going to talk about. I mean, I can talk about cybersecurity all day, but it's really good if I've got like 3 or 4 bullet points that I know I need to hit, and we've got 3 or 4 for the FBI person and 3 or 4 for the attorney and 3 or 4 for the MSP, because that things are going to spawn off of those. So you don't want to give them too much to try and cover, or they're not going to get through everything and get frustrated. But you also don't want to just say, hey, why don't you go up there and wing it? Because it would be an absolute disaster if they do. So I would keep it at anywhere between 3 and 5 bullet points that they're going to discuss. I can tell you that I used 6. I've used 6 for years. And the 6th, it's because it's the 6 things every business owner needs to know before they buy a cyber policy. That's what my spiel is. I could get up and I could talk about those 6 things in 10 minutes or less. And so half the time, the MSP, one of the MSPs, and I do this, by the way, here's my ADHD kicking in, have multiple MSPs that you have relationships with. Okay. I have several that I work with. They're all my clients, but they also have their own specialties. They're very much niche players. So I've got one that absolutely loves medical offices, but doesn't want anything to do with attorneys or accountants or other stuff. I've got another one that only wants to do attorneys and accountants. I've got another one that'll do everything but medical, attorney, and accountants. And so, yes, it's taken me a number of years to get my referral network built to the way that it is. But, if you do it intentionally the right way, you're going to have different MSPs with different specialties that are going to be there and able to refer business back and forth to you. They can even refer business back and forth with each other, because the ones that are specialized in doctors, the other ones don't want to do that. So they can work that out amongst themselves. But